Review of the best, effective, but safe ways to clean a child's nose depending on age and adults. All the devices for nose cleaning that will be demonstrated in today's video, you can order in the online store aspirators.rf. You can easily find links to the store in the description under this video. We will review depending on the age, and we will start with the smallest babies, with infants, children up to 1 year old. You need to clean the nose very carefully, and for this, safe pairs or nasal aspirators are used. The pair consists of a soft traumatic tip and in fact the main part, which needs to be pressed. How does the process of cleaning a small child's nose occur? First of all, the child lies down. To prevent him from interfering with you, you can swaddle him if you've never done this before. You can learn how to do this on the internet. Swaddled the baby, fixed it. Ideally, a second adult should hold the baby's head to ensure it is well secured. We instill a few drops of saline into the baby's nostril using a syringe or pipette, press on the bulb, bring it to the baby's nostril and start to release, spreading the fingers. During this, the bulb will start to suck back the saline along with any mucus present in the baby's nostril. First we rinse one nostril, then we rinse the other one. Also, for rinsing the nose, you can use a single-channel nasal aspirator schlang with a special comfortable tip. Mom puts it in her mouth and starts to draw air. The rest is the same as with the pair. That is, we instill a few drops of saline into the child's nostril and immediately suck it out with a nasal aspirator. If you rinse the nose accurately, these methods are absolutely safe and non-traumatic. For children older than 1 year but younger than 2, we rinse the nose using the same single-channel nasal aspirator. But the difference is that the child sits during this. Everything else is the same. We draw physiological saline into the syringe, start to drip a few drops into the nose. The child's head can be slightly tilted back, and immediately after installation, we suck out the mucus and saline with a nasal aspirator. Moms often tell me that practically nothing is sucked out during this process. And indeed, if this is the case, it means that there is simply no significant amount of mucus in the child's nasal cavity. If a child from 1 to 2 years old has mucus somewhere deep, there is a feeling that this mucus is flowing into the throat and it is not being blown out. With the help of a single-channel aspirator, you can rinse the child's nose with a 2-channel aspirator with a jar. We will talk about this method in the next age category, in children aged 2-6. With a cold, mucus mainly starts to build up in the nasopharynx. In this case, the child may start to snore, he may cough in the mornings, at nights. And it is very difficult to evacuate this mucus from there with the help of a regular single-channel aspirator. And here a 2-channel nasal aspirator with a jar will be the best. How do we rinse the child's nose with a 2-channel nasal aspirator? This method is called the displacement method. We draw physiological saline into the syringe. If the jar is small, for example, of this format, its volume is no more than 8 milliliters, then we draw 5 milliliters of saline into the syringe. If the jar is of an increased volume and it holds 20 milliliters, then you can boldly draw 20 milliliters of physiological saline into the syringe. Attach the aspirator to the right nostril. At the same time, start pouring physiological saline into the left nostril from the syringe. You let 10 milliliters pass through one side, then the child sneezes. You let 10 milliliters pass through the other side. And thus, you are effectively and safely rinsing your child's nasopharynx in a high-quality manner. As a result, the inflammatory process subsides faster because the antigenic load decreases and the child recovers much faster. In children 7 years and older, adenoids and inflammatory processes in the nasopharynx usually recede into the background, and it is often enough to just thoroughly rinse the nasal cavity. There are several ways to rinse the nasal cavity. Most often, systems for rinsing the nasal cavity are sold in pharmacies and specialized stores, which need to be pressed. But systems with increased pressure, they can lead to the fact that mucus from the nose begins On the contrary, to get into the sinuses, get into the cavity of the middle ear through the eustachian tubes, which open in the nasopharynx. And you can get complications in the form of sinusitis or otitis media. Therefore, the safest ways to rinse the nasal cavity are considered to be methods using devices without a significant increase in fluid pressure. As a rule, these are either syringes or special devices. Today, I will show you one of the most effective and safe devices for rinsing the nasal cavity in children over 7 years old. There are such systems that consist of a can. This system has a flap on top. It is needed to make it convenient to pour the solution into this can. That is, if you close the flap, you boldly put the can on the table, pour the solution there, screw it on the can, actually on the ends. To rinse the nasal strip, turn off the flap so that air can easily get into the can. Next, you go to the sink, lean forward sideways and into the upper nostril. Put the end piece and start gradually filling the upper strip of the nose with liquid. In doing so, it will naturally flow out through the lower strip of the nose. Thus, without significantly increasing the pressure of the liquid in the nasal strip, mucus, excess microbes, and viruses will be flushed out. Half of the solution was passed through one nostril, half of the solution was passed through the other nostril, and the excess solution can be neatly blown out. For rinsing the nose with such a device, you can use a physiological solution. But since these are large volumes and you have to buy a lot of saline, you can prepare the solution yourself at home. For this, you take boiled room temperature water, dissolve 9 grams of regular table salt that we use in the kitchen in 1 liter of water. You can measure this amount using kitchen scales. Or take a standard teaspoon, scoop up the salt with a big hill and pour it into a liter of water. Dissolve the salt and your nasal rinse solution is ready. The methods of nasal irrigation for adults are no different from the methods of nasal irrigation for children 12 and older. And all the same devices are used for this. And do you already know how to properly rinse your nose? Buy a device for rinsing the nasal cavity at the aspirators.rf store. Links in the description. Rinse your nose, properly take vitamins, stay healthy. See you later.